This presentation is for parents and carers who would like some help in managing their child's behaviour. It is split into 3 sections. Section 1 is to help you better understand what your child is telling you with their behaviour. Section 2 is about how to use rewards to encourage more positive behaviour. And Section 3 is to help you feel more confident in managing challenging behaviours and meltdowns. So let's get started. Sometimes it can be hard to know what your child's behaviour is communicating, particularly if they're unable to tell you. Using a framework called ABC can be helpful, where A refers to the antecedent or the thing that led up to B, the behaviour, and C refers to the consequences for your child as a result of that behaviour. For example, whenever the child enters a particular shop, A, they begin to scream and try and bite you. B, the only thing that seems to stop them is when you get them some sweets. C. One way to help you better understand your child is to observe and keep a diary over a period of time. Make sure you record positive as well as negative behaviours and record when they happen, how often they happen, and for how long, as well as what you did as a result. Don't forget to include ABC. Make sure you record A, what happened just before the B, behaviour, to identify possible causes and triggers, and also record C, what happens after the behaviour. What were the consequences of the behaviour? In this way, you'll begin to unpick what is causing certain behaviours that before were a mystery to you. For example, you may find your child does not like a particular noise or a colour, and whenever they hear it or see it, they become upset. You also might find you are accidentally rewarding negative behaviours by the consequences. For example, the child may get more attention by displaying a certain behaviour. And it is also worth reflecting on what the behaviour might mean to your child. What are they trying to communicate? As you develop a diary of this information, it will become much easier for you to spot patterns and begin to apply some ways to improve the situation or to avoid certain triggers. For example, one mother realised that getting ready for bed triggered a meltdown in her child. She also realised, through keeping a diary, that her child was really attracted to objects and items that were green in colour. She combined this information and got her son some green pyjamas. Now he loves getting ready for bed, although he doesn't always stay there. So how can you use rewards effectively to manage your child's behaviour? In this next section, you'll learn about what the best rewards are and how to use them effectively. It is a good idea to have a rewards menu, things you know you can turn to. Rewards can be food and drink, as well as social play, tokens, praise and attention. Think carefully about the use of tangible rewards, such as sweets or sugary drinks, as children can become very dependent on them. If possible, link your rewards to social benefits, such as getting attention from you by playing a game together. Remember, you are your child's biggest reward. Spending time with you, getting your positive and loving attention, is something your child will really like. Rewards need to be strong, immediate, consistent and attention-grabbing. They must be things that your child wants or appreciates. Choose social rewards like playing a game together where possible, and fade out physical rewards like sweets or crisps over time. It is important when you begin using rewards that you are consistent. Every time the behaviour occurs, you reward immediately. However, as that behaviour becomes the norm, you might want to reduce the amount of times you reward it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't notice and comment on it. For example, I noticed you came to the table the first time I called you, and I appreciate that. But you don't have to link it to a reward every time. In fact, psychology tells us that when you don't reward every single time the behaviour occurs, you will actually increase the likelihood of that behaviour. Another thing to consider is to break the behaviour down into a series of small steps. For example, if you want your child to leave the house and get into the car without having a meltdown, you might start with rewarding them for turning off the television, then reward them for putting on their shoes, then their coat. If you reward each small step, then your child will begin to feel successful and this will encourage them further. Eventually they'll be able to do the full sequence with one reward for completion of all the steps. A useful way of thinking about rewards and praise is to see them as golden coins that you deposit in a bank. Every time you are angry with your child or say no, that is a withdrawal of a golden coin. Deposits make your child feel valued, appreciated and approved of, and withdrawals will do the opposite. It is important that you have a balance of deposit and withdrawals. Too many withdrawals can tip your relationship into the red. And remember, prevention is better than cure. Put more energy into noticing neutral and positive behaviours and reduce the energy around negative behaviours. Sometimes we get into a cycle where the child gets the most attention and energy when they are not doing what we want, and very little or no attention when they are doing the things we want. The more effort and energy you put into noticing the behaviours you want to see sends the message to your child that this behaviour is important and valued. In this final section, you will learn about how to manage challenging behaviours and meltdowns. We all know what it feels like when we've experienced a shock or an unpleasant situation. Our emotions are heightened and we may shake or feel hot, or notice our heart beating really fast in our chest. It can often take us a considerable time to feel calm again. This diagram illustrates what is happening inside your child's body when they come across a situation they find it difficult to cope with. A trigger or antecedent will result in feelings of anxiety, fear or anger, and stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol are released. Once these hormones are circulating, your child can easily become overwhelmed and they may well go into a full meltdown. During the recovery phase, it can take an hour or more for the hormones to dissipate and may leave your child tired and tearful. It is worth noting that for many children and adults, transitions can be difficult or overwhelming. Transitions involve any change from one state or situation to another. For example, getting dressed and undressed, leaving or coming home, starting and finishing a meal, starting and finishing school, going on holiday and so forth. So what can you do to help your child at each stage? In the trigger stage, think about ways to calm the situation down, such as distraction, using humour, and acknowledging your child's feelings and responding. For example, I can see you're sad about leaving the swings, but we can come back on the weekend. Consider whether you can give them more time to calm down. Can you ignore them safely? Try to remain calm yourself and use short, simple language in a quiet tone. Get away from an audience and where possible allow your child personal space. If you are feeling stressed yourself, consider asking someone else to take over, or suggest you both do something to calm down, such as a breathing exercise. Things can escalate into a meltdown quite quickly, so what can you do in a crisis? Remember, a child in a meltdown cannot think clearly at all. There is no point trying to reason with a child in the midst of a meltdown. Again, try to use clear, calm language in a quiet tone and focus on keeping everyone relaxed. If necessary, remove others from the situation, and whoever is the focus of the anger needs to move away. If that is you, and you are on your own with your child, then it is more difficult, but do try to remain calm and provide space for your child to calm down. The important thing to remember about the recovery phase is that it takes longer than you think for the body's stress hormones to dissipate. It can often be up to an hour, and afterwards your child may be drained and tearful. Acknowledge these feelings and make sure your child knows they will feel better over time. Observe your child to work out when they're ready for a cuddle or to talk about what happened. It might be they need some time and space on their own, doing their favourite activities first. When your child is ready, explore what happened from their point of view but avoid blaming them. For example, if they became angry about having to leave a play area, acknowledge that from their perspective they may have felt they weren't given enough time or an adequate warning that time was running out. Talk together about how you might tackle the same situation next time. For example, you could use a sound timer or a digital countdown to show 5 minutes. I hope this short presentation has given you some good ideas and tips for better understanding and managing challenging behaviour and how to tip the balance towards more positive behaviours. Be reassured that all children struggle with behaviour, but that for children with additional needs it can be more challenging and you may need additional support and help. Discuss any concerns you have with your child's school or nursery, as they will often be able to provide you with excellent support and, if appropriate, can involve your school's educational psychologist. For further advice and support, look up Luton's local offer, as there are a number of organisations such as Flying Start that can offer practical advice and parenting courses, as well as specific groups of parents of children with additional needs such as FLAG, Families in Luton Autism Group. Thank you for watching.